Welcome back to another deep dive into the shadows of the mind. Today, we're exposing a different kind of control, the one that hides behind affection. They never raised their voice, they never needed chains, because control wrapped in softness is still control, and what you called love was always surveillance. They praised your silence, not your voice. They were never afraid of your mistakes, only your truth. You weren't too loud. You were just finally honest. They wanted obedience dressed as peace. Every time you spoke up, they called it attitude. You were punished for existing too visibly. They loved you more when you were quiet, when you agreed, when you smiled, when you swallowed it. They called that maturity, but it was just suppression. They taught you how to be small, how to take up less space in rooms you belonged to. Your strength made them uncomfortable, so they renamed it problematic. You were too aware, too awake, too real, and that scared them. They wanted the edited version of you, the polite version, the soft-spoken shadow, but the real you couldn't be contained forever. Truth has a way of breaking its own chains. You stopped smiling when it wasn't real. You stopped agreeing just to be liked. And they didn't know what to do with that. So they pushed back, called you difficult, said you were changing, as if growth is betrayal. But here's what they fear most: a woman who speaks, a man who says no, a soul that resists. They wanted submission, not connection. But connection needs honesty, and honesty is what you finally chose. You stopped apologizing for your emotions. You stopped softening your truth for their comfort. You became loud with your boundaries, clear with your limits. You stopped bleeding for peace and started choosing your self-respect. You don't owe anyone your silence, especially not those who benefit from it. Your story matters, even when it makes them uncomfortable. Your no is valid, even if they guilt you. Your healing doesn't need their permission. You are not wrong for outgrowing the room. You are not wrong for needing more than survival. You are not wrong for reclaiming your voice. You were always meant to speak, to rise, to roar. And now you're doing just that. They wanted silence. You chose power. They wanted peace. You chose truth. They wanted control. You chose freedom. They watched how you reacted. They memorized your triggers, not to avoid them, but to use them. They offered comfort when it benefited them. They withheld it when you needed it most. You called it mood swings, but it was selective affection. You begged for honesty. They gave you half-truths with full confidence. You explained your boundaries. They tested them like a challenge. It wasn't chaos. It was calculation. You weren't too sensitive. You were being manipulated. They disguised their control as just being concerned. They asked questions that sounded caring but cut like blades. They listened, just to gather data. Your silence wasn't peace. It was strategy. You played small just to stay safe. You forgot who you were, because becoming invisible felt safer than being real. They applauded you when you complied. They punished you with distance when you resisted. They didn't need to scream. All they had to do was withdraw. The absence felt louder than any words. You spent days trying to earn back something they never really gave. You became a better version of who they wanted, but you lost yourself in the process. And that's how they kept you, not with chains, but with confusion, not with bruises, but with guilt. You weren't in a relationship. You were in surveillance, a test you didn't sign up for, but kept trying to pass. You forgot what real love looked like, because you were surviving emotional warfare. They didn't love you. They studied you. They mirrored your wants to win your trust. Then they used it against you. And still, you stayed, because they made the pain feel like your responsibility. But listen closely now. It wasn't you. It was never you. They created the game and blamed you for losing. But the rules were always rigged. You are not broken. You were broken down. You are not weak. You were drained. And still, you're standing, still breathing, still waking up. And now, you're done apologizing for surviving. You're done shrinking to make others feel tall. You're done mistaking emotional control for connection. You're done begging for clarity from people who thrive in confusion. This isn't your ending, it's your beginning. Because real love doesn't monitor you, it meets you. Real love doesn't keep score, it sees you. Real love doesn't make you beg for the bare minimum. It shows up, fully and freely. And you are learning to show up for yourself. That is your power, and they can't take it anymore. Thank you for watching this story of silent strength and emotional rebirth. If this echoed something inside you, it's because you were never alone. And you're not weak for walking away. You're powerful for finally seeing the truth. Until next time, protect your peace. And remember, what feels like breaking is often becoming.